Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. It's in the description below the video. That is Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing. Today, we're discussing one of the best Breitling launches of the 2021 model year. You're looking at the Breitling Premier B25 Datora. It uses an old name from the 1940s that described a chronograph at Breitling with a triple calendar and a moon phase, and this watch has that. You will also note that some elements have been borrowed, particularly the calendar layout and the dial color, from Patek Philippe's Platinum 5270p perpetual calendar chrono. So this is a simple calendar, which means 5 adjustments per year. It is not a perpetual or an annual, but it has lots in its favor, including a water resistance that would make the Patek blush. So in steel, 42 millimeters in diameter, 15.7 millimeters thick, from lug tip to lug tip, 49.5 millimeters, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and it wears quite nicely, though it is big. I'm going to recommend this watch for a wrist my size or larger. Being fairly broad across the wrist at almost 50 millimeters, it has a lot of presence. It looks good. I would wear it. It's definitely a fit, but if your wrist is any smaller, I think particularly from this angle, you're going to find that there's a little bit of a lug overlap, and even down the barrel, which is the truest view, you can see those lugs are right out there. Now, the watch is thick, but a lot of that is the vaulted plexiglass-like sapphire, and it is a sapphire. It's designed to look like a 1940s plexi. So sleeve might actually ramp up over the side of that fine since it is so sloped, but because it is thick, the tightest dress sleeves might be encumbered. Here, we actually have large, mostly rectangular scale alligator leather. This isn't a pure symmetrical scale cut. You can see on one side it is. On the other side, there is a sort of transition from rectangular to a more varied scale pattern. It's not a cut we see too often, but it is high grade as the scales are uniformly large and well defined. That's always one of the signs of a really good cut of the animal. A broad folded edge, high gloss black finish with a monotone stitch. There is some bolstering to give it thickness and substance. And then we have yellow calf skin on the bottom. No crimping, no gouging. This is a brand new Breitling factory strap, and you can see that the lugs are drilled pretty far inboard, and so that helps with fit on a smaller wrist, and a curved spring bar is used so there's no impediment to the motion of the strap. We have a buckle here. It's a single fold twin trigger release, so you have to press both triggers for it to open. You can see externally the buckle features a profile with satin and polish that sort of matches the design of the lugs of the Premier. It seems that these two designs were intended to go together. Taking a look at the case itself, there are some mid-century style strakes or gadroons. The flanks are satinated. The lug hoods are polished, but the satinated flank wraps around the edge of the lug at each corner. You can see that we have that mid-century modern look with the strakes, the wraparound lugs. We have that lovely, dramatically domed and vaulted sapphire that really does look like a plexi, but it gives you the scratch resistance of a sapphire. And then you can see that there are little pusher adjusters that can be used for correcting some of the calendar indications. Though, for the most part, you're going to find that there is a lot of quick setting built in. So you have a quick set for the moon phase that allows you to do this, which is just fun. If you look carefully, you can see that there is a sleeping moon, and there's a waking moon. And then if you turn in the other direction, you have a quick set for the date, and that jumps the month. So this little corrector is for the day of the week. Now on the dial side, we've got a lovely salmon coloration, and it is a soft, sort of granular salmon. It doesn't have the sharp radial grain of a sunburst. We have metallic Arabic numerals that are cropped by the sub-seconds and chronograph minutes. We have a mid-20th century mark, 3 minutes, 6 minutes, and 9 minutes, because back then long-distance phone calls tended to be billed in 3-minute increments, and they were very expensive, so that was important. We have a sort of hybrid baton syringe style hand for the hours and minutes. And then we do have some luminescence here, though it's only on the hands. Taking a quick look at the outer scale, you can see the tachymeter is on the dial. That's another feature on primarily pre-1960 chronograph designs. Post-1960, most new chronos that had tachymeter scales tended to have them on the bezel, and that's used in conjunction with the chronograph to gauge the speed of an object, such as a race car over a course. Race car is probably appropriate because you can see it's calibrated fairly high at 700 units. Also note that the outer track is stepped up, so there are several different focal planes on this dial. Breitling's B, no longer with wings. Breitling wants to think of it as a land, sea, and air sports company. And to that end, this is a sporty dress watch with a lume, automatic winding, a steel case, and 100-meter water resistance. On the back, we have what Breitling calls its caliber B25. I call it Concepto's version of a Valjoux 7750. This is Movement House Concepto's C2000, and if you can't see the Concepto C on the base plate, you can see Concepto's distinctive eccentric screw regulation system. So we've got that regulation system for fine adjustments, and then Edicron keys for adjustments to timing and beat error. 4 Hertz automatic winding here. We've got a 48-hour power reserve. We've got stop seconds. We've got the double quick set for the calendar and the moon phase. We've got a oscillating pinion clutch, and you can see it's based on the 7750 architecture because the stub of the clutch and the clutch wire spring is visible right there. But an oscillating pinion is a little bit different than a conventional lateral clutch, although it is a type of lateral clutch. When you start it, the OP generally has very little inherent play, and you can see how there's almost no movement to the chronograph seconds hand when you start it up. That's one of the advantages of an oscillating pinion over a conventional lateral clutch. And then a big upgrade here, Concepto gives us a column wheel in place of the 7750's traditional cam. And it really is very crisp, very impressive, super sharp to feel and to hear. And we've got a 32 joule movement that is considerably more jouled than a standard 7750. The column wheel, 5-position adjustment, and a COSC chronometer certification. So lots to love right here. And if you love this watch, reach out to us, Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.